Hello, greetings, and welcome back. Today is Saturday, August 28, 2021, where Michael and I are observing a Sabbath day, and we are going to do a second session on this wonderful day with Michael in Germany and Brett here, myself, your host, in Minnesota, in the United States of America. You know these nations, Michael. It just never ceases to amaze me how little we have left these days. But remarkably, we have this internet connection from vast, what can we say, time zones. So, Michael, you're 7 hours ahead of me. So welcome back, Michael.
Yeah, welcome back, Brett. And yes, I'm 7 hours older than you.
How can that be in real time?
Oh. Yeah, I have to fly in the western direction to get younger.
Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Yeah. But it's really not that big a difference. But what's amazing to me is the difference in culture and what society teaches in Europe as opposed to other nations, or in the United States as opposed to other nations, quite rather, you know, and that our system of learning is essentially the same thing, Michael. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's quite an amazing feature of the 21st century that we have the ability to reach out to others in a much different part of the world, and in order to learn. And I've learned a great deal from my friends in Europe, and the least I can do is to reach out to others in the United States and the world and offer them a little something. And I think, Michael, you have something for us that we are very thirsty to learn, and that is the continuation in the study of the Greek Empire.
Yeah, Brett, you see that I'm not teacher, but I'm just looking up things, and I just make my own. I create my own thoughts, or I let the Holy Spirit guide me. That said that what's really important in this life is that we actually see that from Greece, the brass from the Middleman image of Daniel. We are in the fourth path of Greece, and you see that it is up to now is influencing us. For example, I've named this session already Olympia, which is not that big deal, but I think that this year was Olympical sports venues taking place, and on television you've seen much of it. And so we have been influenced very highly from Greece also. And there are other things which are coming down from Greece that maybe somebody knows, or the majority might not know. And when it has an effect on the Bible, or on teaching, or religion, or theology, or theosophy. For example, liberal arts educations.
Oh, that's interesting. You touch on that word, Michael, theosophy. That, if you don't mind, that word is so little known. You rarely ever hear, especially in institutional learning, you never hear of theosophy. Give me a break. They never say a word about that. That's just some crazy thing. You're not supposed to look into these things, Michael. See. But yeah. Liberal arts education, yes. Incredible.
Yes, all ancient Greek methods. Ancient Greek methods. Yeah, it's so influential.
Continuation of ancient Greek methods.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. It's so in your face.
A continuity.
It's so in your face. Yeah. The four scientific arts are music, arithmetic, geometry, and astronomy. were known from the time of Boethius onward as the quadrivium. After the 9th century.
The quadrivium.
Yeah.
Hey, that rings a bell. I had a friend of mine some years ago do a YouTube with me, and on the on the quadrivium, he was telling me about this guy named the Greek on YouTube. Oh, Michael, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, this was quadrivium, is in Latin, means 4 ways. Yeah, so these were 4 very, very important subjects in so-called science. As we mentioned it earlier, music, arithmetic, geometry, and astronomy. Yeah. And there were then 3 remaining arts of the humanities are grammar, logic, and rhetoric.
Oh, boy.
What has been left out are the natural sciences, like biology, chemistry, or physics. Yeah. You see, but this is not a big deal. But I thought I mentioned that there are many influences on the philosophy, especially I find in philosophy, in science a bit, but it's explicitly, especially for philosophy. I think it's very generally known that Greece is the main country when it comes down to philosophy. So what's this session about? Well, it's just the things which are left over from our, this is also not correctly here, which are been over from the sessions here. So you see that from the Greek mythology, Olymp, yeah, this is the place where the gods live. Ask Stuart Copeland from the police, he knows everything about where the gods live. Yeah, this is the Olymp. Just want to show you the Olymp. This is the Mount Olympus, not the camera model. No. It's just the Olymp. Mount Olympus. Okay, yeah, there it is. So this is the Mount Olympus, the highest mountain in Greece. Okay, because the gods live on the highest part, so in the mountains. Yeah. So this is the Mount Olympus where all the so-called gods live. So this is a list of mythology figures here, the list of gods, goddesses, etc. Yeah, in the Greek Rome, Aphrodite, Apollo. Yeah, you see the famous NASA missions, Apollo, Ares, Artemis, Athena, where the name of the Greek capital has derived from, Demeter, Dionysus, Hades, or Pluto. This is the lord of the underworld, the king of the underworld, and the dead. Yeah, this is another term for Satan, obviously. Hephaestus, Hera, Hermes. Yeah, you see that these are just these Greek gods, and the godhead is Zeus, king of the gods, ruler of Mount Olympus, and god of the sky, weather, thunder, lightning, etc. Yeah, he is Zeus, and this is a whole bunch of names and ancient Greek primordial deities, etc., etc. Chaos. Yeah, you see the Freemason when it is order by chaos. Interesting, huh? Chaos.
Yeah, order out of chaos. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And also we came up in last session from the 5th element, which was ether. Huh? What is this? The god of light and the upper atmosphere. What a coincidence, huh? What a coincidence. Ether is the personification of the upper sky. He embodies the pure upper air that the gods breathe. The breath of life, huh? As opposed to the normal air breathed by mortals.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I don't think that a usual study or student of physics or so goes into ancient Greek goddesses here. Personification of the upper sky. Either may have had shrines in ancient Greece, but he had no temples and is unlikely to have a cult. Interesting, huh? Isn't that interesting that even elements or explanations of Aristotle, they resemble on Greek goddesses, goddesses, and semi-gods and primordial deities. First generations of god and goddesses. These deities represent the fundamental forces and physical foundations of the world and were generally not actively worshipped, being largely, etc., etc. But nevertheless, Ether, the primary, already the god of the upper sky. Just that I found very interesting. Okay, so let's get back because there are many, many, many things to come. Eros, which is depicted for erotic. Gaia, which is the Mother Earth. Yeah, you see Pachamama, etc. You see where it all comes from. Hypnos, the personification of sleep. Hypnosis. Nemesis. Uranus. You see all this. The planets have been named after these names of gods, and there also are titans. Yeah, god and goddesses, commonly known. Less commonly than the Olympians, but nevertheless Eos, which is the morning dawn, the goddess of the morning dawn. Helios, which is sun god, you see here, yeah, which is halo around him. Themis, Oceanos, where the oceans have come from, oceans. Athena, you see, of course, Athena, Athens, Athena Club in London, when you are reminded, Brett, where all these famous people have been gathered together, like Bram Stoker with Dracula and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes, and all these people gathered together in private clubs in Greece. Greco clubs named after the goddess of Athenaeum Club in London. Yeah, and this is a Greek name, and this is the English name, and the 12 titans. You see that Titanic has also something to do with it, and these are other titans. Asteria, maybe Asterix is a synonym for that. Atlas, yeah, this is also the name of a part of your body, the Atlas, and Atlas carries his world upon his shoulders. The god of endurance and astronomy. Helios, which is the sun god, god of the sun. Selene, which is also an element. Eos, goddess of the dawn. Yeah, Pallas, god of warcraft. Prometheus, it's another name also. The creator of mankind in the Greek is Prometheus. Yeah, so okay, you know what this concept comes from. And Styx, the god of the underworld, you know, Styx went boat on the river. And there is also Olympia, so this is a sport venue to praise especially the Greek gods and goddesses. And the fastest man on the earth is the Catholic Usain Bolt. He said, with God, anything is possible. Thank you, God. He said that because he makes before and after each race, he's doing, or he did 100 meters. He's the world record title holder of that. I think it's 9.58 seconds. 100 meters is about, oh, don't say anything wrong. I think about 300 feet or so. He makes the sign of the cross, which is not Christian at all. Yeah, but this fact is consistently ignored by the mainstream secular media. Both has always wanted to give witness of his faith in God, and this is the reason why he intentionally waits for the TV camera to focus on him, so that this could be seen by the entire world. What tells the Bible of where to pray? In public? I don't think so.
Quite the opposite, Michael.
Quite the opposite. So this is just a little bit reminder or reminiscence on our old satanic media agenda exposed when it was about David Bowie. And this is Usain Bolt, the world's fastest man alive, a Bible believer and devotee of Our Lady. Yeah, so of Mary, wearing with him a miraculous medal. Because of his open views on his Catholic faith, Usain saintly Bolt, you see that where his Catholic origin is coming from his parents, obviously. His complete name was invited by the Vatican to address a conference on global religious liberty. And he's the fastest man alive. And he was never accused for doping. Many of his colleagues were, and many of his opponents were, but never him. Could there be a reason? Oh, sure. He's very tall. Okay, let's move on. You make up your own mind, please. So he's praying and he is pointing to his God in Olympia, which is a festival for pagan gods. So to which god is he praying? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that an interesting question? And I will skip that because you see that we have gone into that when we were talking about David Bowie a long time ago. If you are really into this, then please go to the David Bowie sessions, where I don't want to be repetitive here. Yeah, you see, it all has something to do with the pagan belief. Yeah, you see, he says, okay, this court, this stadium is mine. Yeah, you see some kind of similarity here. I can tell you, the Pope on the right side may be slower, but don't underestimate his power. Yeah, you see, that's all about. This is just everything around us has something to do with pagan gods, be their Babylonian names, be their Greek names, be their Roman names. I don't care. It's just about everything. Yeah, Clio. There's a car named Renault Clio, or Urania. Yeah, the muse of astronomy. Yeah, these are the muses, the 9 Greek music, where music comes from. Yeah. The Charites, there are so many things. It's unbelievable where everything is coming down to all these pagan goddesses. A grace, Grazia, yeah. Or in painting and sculpture, the 3 charities or graces are often depicted naked, sure, or almost naked. However, during the archaic and classical periods of Greece, they were typically depicted at fully clothed. Statue of Asclepius, the Greek god of medicine, holding the symbolic rod of Asclepius with his coiled serpent. This is a Greek god. And this is the symbol of the World Health Organization. I won't admit that has something to do with Asclepius. I don't think they will admit it. There is just another kind of so-called Greek mythology, or mixed Greek mythology, because it's Greco-Egyptian mythology. I think you never have heard about this. This is the Greek magical papyri. We know where magical comes from. It comes from magic, or magike from Greece. And this is derived from the Magi. So the Magi were priests in Persia. So that means that this is the Greek Persian priest script. Or a little bit longer, the Greek Persian priest traditional script or method. What else? So welcome to the Greek magical papyri. Sounds a little bit weird, maybe. Looks a little bit strange, maybe. But the Greek magical papyri is the name given by scholars to a body of papyri, so script rolls, from Greco-Roman Egypt. So, Greek magical, Greco-Roman Egypt. Mixing up everything and giving the knowledge to the next kingdom. You see, we know that Alexander took over some knowledge from the Magi, from the Persian Empire. And now there is also hidden knowledge giving over from the next generation to the next generation to the next generation, and from the one kingdom to the next kingdom. But not openly, because it's a magical papyri. This is written mostly in ancient Greek, which each contains a number of magical spells, formula, hymns, and rituals. The material in the Greek magical papyri date from the 100 BC to the 400s AD. Isn't that strange? Because at that time, the Greek Empire didn't rule anymore. Rome was founded 753 AD and took over from the Greek much before 100 BC. So this is a mixed collection of rolls, of scripts, of papyri, handed over from the Greeks to the Romans. Therefore, a totally mingling up of three different areas: Greece, Roman, Egypt, Greco-Roman Egypt. We now for the first time have a document here which contains the so-called knowledge of three different countries, and even two of them are world empires, or were world empires, bred. The manuscripts came to light through the antiquity trades from the 1700s onward. One of the best known of these texts in the Mithras liturgy. The texts were published in a series, and individual texts are referenced using the abbreviation PGM plus the volume and item number. Each volume contains a number of spells and rituals. Further discoveries of similar texts from elsewhere have been allocated PGM numbers for convenience.
Ah, Michael, we could substitute rituals with rites.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
The very important thing is that you have to take this into consideration. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Greco-Roman Egypt. Yeah. People see history as one separate. This is separate to separate to separate. No, this is all mingled up. And this is a Greek magical papyri, so it has not been taught in schools. This is the secret things which the so-called priests are, in that case, the magi's. It's a magical papyri. So when we know it's a magical papyri, then let's move on. Let's do it. Let's do it this way.
It's that.
If it is magical, it is a priestly thing, and magic comes from the magi. There's no doubt about it. We have talked about it extensively. So, absolutely, if you want to do it correctly, you have to say that it's Persia, Greco-Roman Egypt. You see where it all leads to, that there is esoteric teaching which succeeds by generation to generation to generation to generation, which incorporates knowledge of Persia, of Greco, of Egypt, and of Roman rulership or kingdoms. And therefore, I have decided to put it in here. Usually, this is content which is not debated over on Christian channels, because, of course, it is what it is. Yeah, but I think it's very important that we see that there is no real distinction between Greco and Roman Egypt, because everything will be mingled up. Yeah, it's only in the school that you learn, yeah, it's from this to this is this empire, and then the other empire took over. No, it absolutely don't make any sense. Officially, they take over, yes, but the teachings of the priestly class, of the enlightened ones, or whatever you might call them, they've been handed over on scripts, and many of the things have not been written down, but they will be told the next generation how to do this by tradition. So there are even things which are not been written down. Okay.
It's interesting, Michael, that second sentence there, the manuscripts came to light through the antiquities trade from the 1700s onward. One of the best known of these texts is the Mithras liturgy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mithras, where have we heard that before? Mithras.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can just have a look upon that. What Mithras? It's from the Greek magical papyri. So the PGM, it usually has been the Papyri, magical Greece, Papyri, great magical, part of the Greek magical papyri, etc. The Mithras liturgy. Yeah, Mithras was the religion that the Romans had.
Was that Christmas that I was thinking about?
You see.
I mean, this stuff just doesn't end, Michael. I mean,
it doesn't end.
There are people that celebrate Christmas all year long. Why is that? You keep the lights on your house all the time, and why is it that people are so gung-ho on Christmas?
Yeah, you see that this is content which I was thinking of. How shall we really talk about it? But I think it's very important to know that there is a second line which is not being taught, or is esoteric teaching which is not taught in schools. And this is handed over by the priests from Babylon to Medo-Persia, to Greece, to Egypt, to Roman. Bam, 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 bam. And they know absolutely what to do, because you see they have experience for thousands of years into these scripts, into this tradition, into these rites.
Amulets and ointments.
Yes, it's it's all the same. A spell for exorcising a demon. Using Coptic words of so-called Christian origin with instructions for preparing an amulet, etc., etc.
Man, astronomical
if you think that,
or horoscopes.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Oh man, Mithras liturgy. Oh, this is a bottomless pit, Michael.
It's a bottomless pit. Yeah,
bottomless pit straight out of hell.
That's it. That absolutely is necessary to know that there is hidden knowledge which is not being taught in school. In school, you see it's science from Aristotle and from Isaac Newton and from whosoever. But
yeah, right there, above there. Belts believed that the Mithras liturgy is a product of, at the meeting point of the Greek, Egyptian, and Mithric traditions, finally identifying the central ascent section as a product of early Hermeticism.
Yeah, Hermeticism means Hermes from the Greek mythology.
Yeah, mythology. Yeah, we're deep in it. Yeah. The real myth, Michael.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Papyri Graeci Magicae, as it's been called, PGM. Yeah, so they don't refer to the veggie, so they say PGM, so nobody knows what they are talking about, actually. Yeah.
Oh, look at it. Next sentence says, Marvin Meyer is certainly that the text has connections to Mithraism and believes that, quote, it contributes a great deal to the study of magic, miracle, and ritual and religions and antiquity and late antiquity, including Catholicism.
Yeah.
And the stories of miracles attributed to, quote unquote, Jesus. Yeah, which Jesus? And others may profitably be studied with texts like the Mithras liturgy at hand. Jesuits, anyone?
Yeah, and you see that Hermeticism, if people think that, oh, it's just the Hermes of the Greek mythology, yeah, that's a part of it is correct. Hermeticism, Hermeticism. Yeah, so it's a label used to designate a philosophical system that is primarily based on the purported teachings, which had never existed.
Purported, yes.
Yeah, of Hermes Trismegistos. So that is the ultimate god of knowledge of mythology. A legendary Hellenistic combination of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth, or Thoth, yeah, with the Ankh. So these teachings are contained in the various writings attributed to Hermes, the Hermetica, which were produced over a period spanning many centuries, 300 before to 1200 after Christ. This is 1,500 years, can you imagine? And maybe very different in content and scope. It's the philosophical Hermetica, then corpus hermeticum, etc., etc. It's everything mingled up.
Wow.
Containing astrology, alchemy, and magic. We have to deal with them very soon when we go into the Middle Ages.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Then we come to Paracelsus and all this.
This is some ugly stuff, Michael. This
is real stuff. This is real stuff. And when I studied astrology in a private school in south of Germany, we were presented that the offspring of all the astrology came from Mesopotamia, and there was some clever guy called Hermes Trismegistus, as above, so below. So this was some part of the beginner's training of astrology. And you see, Hermetic arts, astrology. It's just an example.
Yes,
but ask yourself, do you really think that it had a span of 1,500 years to write and to modify it from country to country in their appropriate language, of course? And I'm not going into this because it would totally explode the session here. But ask yourself if you really think that it's just by accident that everything is mingled here. Magic means Persia. Means the Magi from Persia. And once again, I say that the Magi existed before the Persian Empire existed. So absolutely. If you want to have the continuation here.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go, Michael. That continues the sequence to the full extent of what this entails.
Yeah, and then let's please have another look at the Metal Man image. And when we go into the Metal Man image, so sometimes it's very good that I have not completed the script, so we can have a little bit more free session here. But if you see the Metal Man image, no, not that Metal Man, but from Daniel, of course, yeah. Then you see, I don't care for the explanation at the moment.
Just the basic raw.
Just the basic. We are speaking about a statue where there should be what should be worshipped, because it was a dream of Nebuchadnezzar. It was an ancient pagan king. He wanted to be ruler for every time and want to be worshipped, etc. And people like Daniel, they should put down before the image. And no, he refused because he said, no, I don't do that, because the first commandment is, thou shalt have no other gods before me. And everything about the statue here is the ruling one. Also, he has his arms crossed. I don't know what the original statue looked like, but you see that every time I looked at the statue, I came across the fact that he had his arms crossed. So he says, no, I'm protecting myself. I'm refusing to be hugged. And this kind of arm holding is also part of a ritual. But the important thing is that at the end, there is a stone not made with hands, which will crush the kingdom. So it is a kingdom, but it's all in one.
Yes.
It's all in succession, and it was ever meant to be an image of a worldly ruler. That's my point. So we're talking about a king here. He has the crown and a head of golden. You see that golden stands for religious content. It's not silver. The head is not silver. The head is golden. So the head of gold is on top of the silver chest. It's like the flag of the Vatican. And from that, all the pagan religions been modified, from Babylon to Medo-Persia to Greece to Rome. a little bit of Egypt. We know that in Egypt they did magic bread.
Yes.
That's in the book of Exodus. Yeah, and so you see that if my summation, when I assume that the Magi were in existence, and we know also that the Babylonian had many pagan fertility rites, and we did go into that by example. That's also one of the reasons why it did go into the sacred prostitution, because I said that it's sacred, so it has something to do with the religion practice. So in all these empires, they were practicing pagan rites. If you go to Socrates, he was allegedly condemned to death because he had sex with minors. And so when in school they tell you that everything is in the right line of order and continuation, from then to then there is this empire, then is this empire, this is just half the truth. They are missing out the important bits. But the important bits is that the secret knowledge or the magic has been handed over from one kingdom to another and from one generation to the next. By, for example, as an example here, the proof of the PGM. This is a script which is not taught in schools. Yes, the Papyri Graeci Magicae. Yeah, so Papyri Graeci Magicae. And there you know that it has something to do with the religious practice, because it's magic. It's a kind of magic. Huh? It's a kind of magic. It's Greek magic, but it's Greek magic mingled with all the other kingdoms. Okay. Betts, the English translator of the PGM, claims that the text forms a fraction of the magical books that must have existed in antiquity and considers them a form of underground literature subject to book burnings at the time. He cites books burning in the Acts of Apostles, Acts 19:10. Augustus orders to burn magical books according to Suetonius and what he terms numerous early Christian book burnings. I think that's so interesting that we should, I think, take a look.
Verify it. Yeah.
Verify it at the book
1910.
of. Yes.
Book of Acts. Chapter 19. Verse 10, of course.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I don't know, man.
I don't find it in Acts 19:10.
Isn't that the way it works? See, they're counting on you. You're not going to research it yourself, and God forbid you would go to the old King James Bible. Let's look at NIV. What would it say? I'm sorry. It's a waste of time.
Maybe it's something in there, but you see that the...
Yeah, there probably is. Book burning in Ephesus.
It's 1919 actually. It's 1919. Most likely.
I see.
Do always your own research. That Red can and I can advise you. Yeah. There it is.
Use the curious arts. Yes. Oh, it was a huge amount of money.
But also the book of Acts in the Bible speaks of people who burned their books about curious arts. Yes. After they came to the belief. So these books of so-called curious arts must
are worthless. They're not
appropriate
worth anything.
for pagans.
Right.
So it's not 1910, but 1990.
There we go.
So do your own research. Frankfurter, on the other hand, considers these text productions of so-called innovative members of the Egyptian priesthood during the 3rd, 4th century decline of the Egyptian temple infrastructure and lends them considerably less underground status than Vets. Siegel goes further, using the PGM to question the dichotomy of magic and religion in scholarship on the Hellenistic world. He uses the existence of hymns in the PGM to suggest that the people who wrote them in such magical texts saw no distinction between such material and the more overtly magical content in the same documents. So I can tell you from people who are into this kind of stuff that they take the PGM very seriously, very seriously. It is one of the most prolific and complete textbooks that you can achieve. So this is, I cannot judge it by a grade or so, but it's one of the more important ones. Let's speak it in these terms. Yeah. So this is something which would, if it is authentic, it would prove that these kind of practices have been handed over from generation and from kingdom to kingdom. So that was the reason why I wanted to mention him here. Brett, I'm not making any promotion for it. God forbid. I just wanted to look at the kind from another perspective, that the usual approach, you see that you've been taught, yeah, there were some Olympic deities, yeah, they were residing on the Mount Olympus, but you see, this is just for the school that, you know, oh, they were gods, that is interesting, oh, no, we don't worship them anymore. But
here's the thing, Michael, when you are confronted with, topics today where they explore the myths of this and the myths of that, it's often, has to do with the Bible being perverted into something it's not, which is, the adversary wants to take away the dominion of Almighty God by, constantly mocking and misrepresenting anything according to the truth of the Bible. So they make God into a liar, and try and get man to have consent along with their little design. And, they succeeded very well to a certain degree. It's just a matter of people waking up to the real truth of the matter and seeing the historical facts that, it's always been a backsliding phenomena where people will get the faith, they think they have faith, and it's like the parable of the mustard seed, the parable of the sowing of the seeds in the field. There's good soil and there's not so good soil, and then there's no soil at all, and everything in between. So when you really want to understand mythology, you have to look at the facts of history, which that's exactly what we're doing, Michael.
Yeah, and you see that as we know that science means knowledge, then and arcana means secret, so it is secret knowledge here. It is secret science, actually, if you would retranslate it into American English, that everybody is understand. Arcane knowledge means secret science. And if they hand over some things in these books, which is not taught in school, what does that tell you? There is a kind of secret science, or science so-called. So they teach you the one thing, but in the underground, it's just a totally complete other thing. Yeah, totally other content and things that you will not be taught in school. In school, nobody talks about magic. Yeah, don't come up with Harry Potter or so. Yeah, but I know they promote magic by in films and so, but
that's entertainment.
That's entertainment. Yeah, to distract you, to think that magic is fancy. Oh, it's just fun. That's not happening.
That's something you can do for fun, because it's fun to pretend. It's fun to be, wear that mask so you can be who you want to be, who you really want to be. Yeah, in darkness, Yeah. And this is the condemnation, that men love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil.
Yeah, and you see that the prolific point of that all-bread is simply the fact that these PGMs contain passages written in the earlier Egyptian hieratic script, or words written in a special cipher script, which would have been an effective secret code to a Greek reader, but would have been deciphered fairly simple by an Egyptian. So you see that it's mingled everything together here. This is also many things which do not belong in there. You see that on the outside, people think that, oh, it's just another fairy tale book. But there are some kind of books. I cannot tell if this special book of PGM is correct because I don't have the PGM in my possession so far, and I cannot go. We cannot be professed in any kind of in every kind of field. But I think it is very important that we absolutely see that you have one thing in common, is that, for example, that we know that the Magi are priests. They are giving their secrets away to the next generation, into the next kingdom, because the next generation is under the control of the next empire. So what once was a tribe of from Media in Persia is under the rule of the Medo-Persian kingdom, of the silver chest of the middleman. But then afterwards, it passes the information on to the next generation. And the next generation is under the influence, under the yoke, under the empire of Alexander the Great. But information will be passed over. And the next generation is under the yoke of Rome. But information has been passed over and over. And so, by no surprise, is that the Roman pagan religion and Roman pagan underground science or knowledge or priests are using nearly the same rites as the Babylonians, because it has been passed over. Not in schools, but by religious leaders in monasteries, in churches, in gatherings, in temples. The scribes, how many people could write and read in the Roman Empire? 5 to 10%? What shall we expect? How many people could write and read in the Greek Empire or in the Medo-Persian Empire? These people were having the knowledge. And this knowledge has an official side which has been taught in schools or in Plato's Academy or what else. And the other thing has been done underground, which means the priests. The priests and the ruling class. When I said high priests and scribes, I totally refer to Babylon, I totally refer to Medo-Persia and all the other kingdoms. So they have secret knowledge and they pass it over. And nowadays, it's not secret knowledge, it's secret service. So anybody who has secret knowledge is a part of a secret service, a service to a pagan god. Throughout the spells found in the Greek magical papyri, there are numerous references to figurines. They are found in various types of spells, including judicial, erotic, and just standard cursing that one might associate with Haitian voodoo. And there is voodoo, and in parts of America there is what's it called? There is juju, I think, in America and in Africa, and in America it escapes me at the moment. Hutu, yeah, this is Hutu. This is also special kind of religion, and in that kind of religion, Moses is one of the best practitioners of Hutu. You cannot make up the stuff on your own. You see, in many underground religion or pagan religions, Moses is being seen as a sorcerer because he does miracles. That he didn't do any miracle because he was only fulfilling the order of God to put his hand. And God made the miracles people do not see because they don't accept the Almighty God.
They don't accept the gift of free salvation.
Yeah.
And the one mediator between God and man, which is the eternal Christ Jesus, given to us in the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, and now look at this. This would be almost exactly what I said. The religion of the Greek magical Papyri is an elaborate syncretism of Greek, Egyptian, Jewish, and even Babylonian and Roman religious influences engendered by the unique milieu of Greco-Roman Egypt. So of that time, of course. You see, it's everything together. It's everything together. Or just you exchange the names of the gods. So what? It's just. This is partly the influence of Egyptian religion, in which beast cult and the terror of the divine were familiar elements. Oh, this is just quite recent. Yeah. Yeah, and so they distract you also. They say that in the old Egyptian papyri, 666 has been exchanged with the number 616, and you can do so many things about that. This is the root of Noah. Yeah, there are many books about that. But as I said, I don't want to make any promotion about it, but I just can tell you that when it comes down to Greeks, I just didn't want to miss out the Greek magical papyri, because it's far more important, the Greek magical papyri, than the Olympians that everybody says, yeah, they were preaching and they were worshiping the Olympic gods in Olympia every 4 years. That's absolutely correct. But also this would be exoteric Olympia, exoteric knowledge, so that almost anybody knows, oh yeah, they were just being developed in Greece, the Olympic Games, and they bear the name of the highest mountain in Greece. So what? Yeah, so this is also not esoteric knowledge. Esoteric knowledge is there is a knowledge behind the knowledge. There's a knowledge which has not been meant for the common people.
Right, right. And as long as the common people take the knowledge that they've been taught and use it, then you can cultivate this through esoteric knowledge, Michael.
Yeah.
That's the quote-unquote secret.
You just give them one thing to feed the masses, and the masses are satisfied and said, "Oh, now I know. Now I'm enlightened." And they get away with that. They give you one piece and one piece and one piece and one piece, and when you got 99,
get away with it because it's accepted, Michael, in the world promotes it. And they have to have it this way because that's what they've been taught. So you get what you deserve, Michael.
Yeah, and there you have your Olympic gods. Yeah, this is the king god. It's a gold medal. You see where it comes from? Gold, silver, bronze.
Yes, it really does, Michael. Indoctrination, anyone? False doctrine?
This is not being taught anywhere, you see. This is not being taught anywhere.
Gold, silver, bronze, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, we know that the medal man does not consist of bronze but of brass. But you see that in many pictures it's been depicted as bronze. Maybe in this. Yeah, no, it's brass. It's correct here. Yeah, but I know that
but it has the appearance of bronze, at least.
Yeah, here you see that picture which we have used very frequently, that depicts the medal man image as bronze. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but you see gold, silver, and bronze.
Sure.
Yeah. It's time the Rock is coming, huh? and I'm not meaning the actor or the wrestler named the Rock, but I mean Jesus Christ. I mean Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Well, and that's the truth, Michael. He comes to all of us that are in him and use him as our, the what can we say? The comforter, as it says in Scripture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to have faith. You have to have faith. If you do not have faith, you do not get the comforter. Simple as that.
You see, the deception here in the Greek magical papyri, for example, is that it promotes that anyone would be able to act as a god by just putting out a spell, by just having an ancient rite, like voodoo. People want to have power. And I have several people who are commenting, and they always claim that, oh, no, it does come from that source and that source. No, it comes down from Genesis 3, where Satan is deceiving people. Satan is deceiving people. Now that's the real problem. Satan is deceiving people. Yeah, there are many things out there, but the origin is the first time that mankind was confronted with Satan. Oh, I'm not supposed to open the book, but you see that there are many books upon that subject. But I think that was the content of this. It was that it is not important what Olympia is or was, that the head of the so-called gods of the Greeks, but you see that it has been handed over and handed over and handed over. And if we look at Greece, at the Bronze Kingdom, yeah, we can say that it's just a continuation of Babylon and Medo-Persia, quite logical. Because magic, or the practice of pagan rituals, yeah, so the practice of pagan religious ceremonies. What's now? My computer is.
Wow, is it running slow, Michael?
Yeah.
Man, oh man, oh man, boy, oh boy, we have.
I have to close.
This is a new kind of patience we have to learn here.
Yeah, I have to close some things. Yeah.
Maybe a little too much on the computer for it to handle, huh?
Mm-hmm. Maybe, just maybe.
Yeah, just maybe.
Oh, instead of closing, I'm opening Windows. That's strange. Yeah. Oh no! Don't give me that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So religious ceremonies. My.
I don't think the computer wants us to continue the session, Michael.
Oh, he wants. He has to. Okay.
There we go.
So in many kinds of rituals and medical formulae, and to counterattack evil omens. The ancient Mesopotamians believed that magic was the only viable defense against demons, ghosts, and evil sorcerers. To defend himself, the spirit of those they had wronged, they would leave offerings known as kishpu in the person's tomb in hope of appeasing them. If that failed, they also sometimes took a figurine of the deceased and buried it into the ground, demanding for the gods to eradicate the spirit or force it to leave the person alone. Black magic as a category doesn't exist in ancient Mesopotamia. That depends on what you think that is depicted or explained or defined as black magic. But because the ancient Mesopotamians made no distinction between rational science and magic. Yeah. And so if things are continuing through the kingdoms to the metal man in the pagan belief, there is no distinction. Because science actually only means knowledge. It actually only means knowledge. And as we have learned that in Babylon, it has something to do with medicine. With medicine. Yeah. So you don't want to know what everything here. When a person became ill, doctors would prescribe both magical formulas to be recited as well as medical treatments in Mesopotamia. Because a physician in the Middle Ages is a healer, one who practices the art of healing disease and of preserving health, doctor of medicine. The one who practices the art of healing disease, that can mean everything. That can mean only also that somebody uses a spell. From Latin physica means natural science, see physic. But the physician you would expect is somebody who has been busy with natural science. But here in that context, it's a healer in the Middle Ages. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, because physics in itself means the natural things. Title of Aristotle's treatise on nature. Okay, nature, healer, health. Interesting, huh? I think that in the next session we should take a look at medicine and health, and especially where it all came from.
Oh, that's an interesting topic, Michael.
That's an interesting topic. Yeah, that's an interesting topic. But I think we will spare that for the next session. I think we have already have an hour now of recording time, and I apologize for some minor computer faults. But I think nevertheless, I hope it was an interesting study into the Greek pagan system and the underground system. And therefore we can get to the next subject, I think, which many people are looking forward to, is what kind of medicine was used, and where are some clues and some errors and some hints and some tricks in the ancient medicine, which has an absolutely effect on our modern day science and medicine. And as we have learned that in Mesopotamia, yeah, there was the head of gold. Okay, so I'm not going into this. I'd just like to thank you for your time and for your patience, and I'm handing it over to Brett. Thank you very much for listening, and God bless.
Yeah, Michael, that's something else, isn't it? It's you know, you can look right through this as long as you have the wit to see through it. Yeah, Mesopotamians. Mesopotamia. You mean Babylon, Michael? Isn't that
sure?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is where it comes down to.
Babylon is just the city of Mesopotamia.
That's right. Just one city, but an entire empire rested on that city. And that's the important point. And when they say ancient Mesopotamians, they're making a reference to Babylon. Yes.
Yeah. Including Babylon. You should say.
That's correct. Yes. Including Babylon. So, yep. And nothing new under the sun, Michael. And we're definitely going to go into the what can we say, the dilemma we face today with medicine next time. The Science is the New Religion script. So Michael, thank you, and definitely very grateful to have some insights into the history behind all of it. And biblically speaking, we can make reference to this as we're just trying our level best to do. And hope to cover more ground with you next time. And God bless and Maranatha.